What is going on, everybody? We finally watched it, boys! We finally watched it now! I gotta stay spoiler free for at least a minute here, y'all, so bear with me. Bear with me, I have to stay spoiler free for at least a minute. So I'll let y'all know when we're gonna get into spoiler talk, because by the flag doors, I got something to say. I got some things to say, but ladies and gentlemen, if you are brand new to the channel, first and foremost, I apologize for the noise in the background. My mic broke, but I don't care. All right, this is a drastic situation, ladies and gentlemen. This is the night of Film Red's premiere. I am giving you this review first and foremost with the bias of having watched this in a theater with other fans of this series, which elevates the experience, right? So if you're watching this in your house and however way you're going to be watching it, keep that in mind, right? So I'm going to have theater bias as well as being a tard. Ladies and gentlemen, you know me. I'm the most subjective human being who's ever lived. There is an objective bone in my body, all right? And because of that, when something is peak to me, son, I'm in there. I'm in there. So bear that. If you're not a fan of the words Goat Raw Fire Peak, click off the video, maybe consider unsubscribing, maybe block the channel. I don't care what you do. But I am here today to talk to those individuals who either have an open mind or want to see a man lose his sanity over Film Red. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if I had a tree outside my house, and I do, but I didn't grow it. God grew it. It wasn't me. But if I did grow that tree, these are the only Santa hats in my possession. Unfortunately, I couldn't pull off a Jew seal. Where's my... Hold on, boys. I gotta work the peg leg, man. I gotta work the peg leg already. Wait just a minute. We've gotta work the peg leg. I only bring this out during hype chapter reactions, but by the blackguards. Ladies and gentlemen, yo, man. Oh my goodness, dude. If I had more, it would be more. There is a scene in this movie. There are multiple scenes in this movie that if they were in a chapter, I would have said, screw the peg leg. I would have said, screw the peg leg, man. And my camera probably would have flipped halfway across the bed because we were going insane. My cousin, thankfully, was sitting next to me. My friend was still to my right. So I could go as crazy as I possibly wanted to, right? But son, what? I just don't know how I can keep this any more spoiler free. Go Raw Fire Peak. If you're a tard like me, go watch the movie. If you don't like One Piece, I would recommend still watching the movie because you might get some sort of greatness out of it. Just go watch it. Make your own opinions. Do not focus on me. Go out and formulate your own opinions. And then come back to this video and watch it. Don't watch it. I don't care. I just want to talk to the people who watched the movie. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched the movie, look at the time card. We're going to start talking about spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Oh my. Dog! I'm getting right into it, bro. When we got to this scene where Shanks pulls up and grabs Uta's hand, because Uta's seconds away from bringing the knife right down into Luffy, right down. And the person to stop her from doing so is who? It's Akagami no Shanks. And not only that, then Luffy and Shanks bend realities to such an extent to where with Taut Musica, we had a situation where, and because of the Sing Sing fruit, we had a situation where there were two different worlds that were created, right? You had the reality, and then you had the Uta's reality, right, with inside of the Sing Sing fruit, right? So it's like, okay, this is how we're gonna keep these two characters from meeting. I 100% understand that, but boys, but y'all, when Usopp started talking to Yasopp, dog, yo, I don't know if I've ever felt that. When I felt in that moment, I don't know if I felt it. And the craziest part about it, is that I got the Otototo Ben Beckman once again. Kizaru, Fujitora, the admirals are there. And once again, my boy, Akagami no Shanksu and the squad are just like, yo, you're done. And then that's not even enough. Then, while Todd Music is going crazy, it's going insane. In the midst of all of that, this man, Goat Man Monkey D, not only goes into Gear 4th Bounce Man, not only goes into Snake Man, but y'all, in the midst of all of that, you have Usopp and Yasopp connected through observation hockey. He's giving out commands like they're right next to each other. Usopp and Yasopp, bro. Zoro goes in. I'm going to assume he used Conqueror's coding because that's probably what that green thing was. I was losing my mind. Then I saw Sanji use Ifrit Jambe. Then I was like, hold up. We're getting serious. Then Robin with the Higanto. I was like, okay, we're getting more. I was like, okay, we're seeing some stuff. So then we charge it up. We have a conversation between Katakuri and Shanks, where Katakuri is talking about something about to happen in the future, and Shanks is like, brother, why are you talking? I've already seen it before you did. I saw it before you did. But bro, the final attack is the most hyped I have ever been while watching any One Piece movie. Period. That my hype there was like chapter 1044, Roof Piece, chapter 957, Ultimate Levels of Hype. Son, I was more hyped during that moment than I was whenever Ace and Sabo moment in Stampede. And that, up until that point, was the most hyped that I'd ever been. Son, the final attack. We got to see it for the first time in animated form. My favorite transformation of all time. And if you have not read the manga, do not listen to what I'm about to say, because even though you've seen it, you don't know what it is, all right? And I screamed it. Unfortunately, probably somebody in the theater. I mean, I didn't scream it. I said, I was like, no. You know, I can't control myself, bro. I was like, wow. So if you have not read the manga, skip around 10 seconds. Fuck, you're 5. I gotta go peg leg for a moment, son. Yo, son. Not only was Shanks executing an attack in collision with Luffy and Shanks are about to split realities. He goes in and just annihilate. Not only that, but he's doing it alongside Gear 5th Luffy. And I was like, no, this is the epitome. This is the universal language personified in 4K. Might have been 8K, but what I saw when Luffy and Shanks did their dual attack was go raw fire peak to the max. Put that on a shirt, stamp it, seal it, and send it away. Put it in a bottle and push it wherever it is that you want it to go. That was the most hype scene I might have ever seen in regards to any One Piece movie, period. I don't even think it's close. Luffy and Shanks, son? And y'all know who I am when it comes to Shanks, bro. Anything with Shanks is automatically a 50 out of 10, man. That is my favorite part-timer. This is the dude. This is the triple Santa Hat level, man. I created the Santa Hat because of this dude. Let me roll it back a little bit, bro. I just had to scream that from the top of my lungs. Because, bro, I could not believe my eyes when I was seeing my favorite form in animated form at the same time that I was seeing Shanks execute attacks. And if that wasn't enough, this man used Conqueror's hockey and the sea itself was trembling. The planet itself was asking for help in dealing with this man when he unleashed his Conqueror's hockey, son. And it created this ball, and then the waves. It was doing the equivalent of what Whitebeard does with his fruit, as if he was doing it with his hockey. Oh, I'm already starting to lose my voice. Man. This is gonna be a long one. Oh, this is gonna be a long one, son. Yo, first and foremost, man. All right. So this movie, it was split into two sections, right? You had the Uta singing section with the concert, setting everything up, and then the second half, which is the epitome of Goat Rough Iron Peak. So, obviously in the first half, a lot of fun sequences there, especially after watching the filler. I'm so glad that I had the context from the filler to really, for a lot of those scenes, come to. And I came into Film Red, heavily anticipating the relationship between Luffy and Uta and how that would grow, how we would see that within this movie, right? Especially in relation to Shanks, what really happened there, the daughter thing, all that stuff. So within that first half, my biggest takeaway, aside from the visual spectacle and the audio spectacle that we were already expecting with Otto and the insane, I think this is the best looking thing that maybe One Piece has ever produced in terms of just straight up visuals. The range in visuals here is nuts. It is nuts, all right? They captured everything visually when it comes to the concerts, when it comes to the insane action sequences later on. Insane. But there's one thing that they said in the first half that has not left my mind since I watched this, and I don't have any context because I did not read anything from the volumes, right, for that was released for Film. I avoided all information. So please let me know. I'm going to do my own research after this, now that I've watched the movie. But they brought up a name. The Gorosei brought up a name that because they believe Shanks is Uta's Shanks' real daughter, right? That's honestly what it seemed like they said. And they brought up a name. Is that Shanks' family name? And if that's the case, if that's Shanks' family name, we had a scene later on when it showed a young Shanks, Ben, and all of them whenever they just picked up Uta. And then he saw himself within Uta looking up at Roger and Rayleigh. That one really had me shook. It had me insanely shook, right? Insanely shook. Because what that implies is they've been with Shanks since he was very, very small. Like, maybe the first thing that Shanks ever saw was Roger and Rayleigh's faces, which adds so much to the Roger scene that we got within Odin's flashback. And potentially even more stuff down the line now with this family name thing. Because if this family name thing implies that this man is a celestial dragon or something around those lines, right? Which is not a theory that's been around for a long time. But by the Flagnards, does it connect to the God Valley incident? Did they get him from the God Valley incident and then... So I gotta go back and look at that name. I gotta see that name, man. Because I remembered the name, and then the insanity in the second half was so crazy that I forgot the name. But before I get back to the Shanks greatness, I want to talk about Uta for a second, because obviously she was a major part of this movie. And not only did what happened with Uta exceed my expectations going into it, but I did not expect the end result to be as powerful as it was. There were two scenes that hit extremely hard. And when I mean two scenes, it's like two threads, right? The thread of Uta being left behind and believing, quote unquote, that Shanks had left her for all those years. The scene in the room where she was singing the same thing that she would sing later on, and how that led into the truth after we find out that Gordon actually lied, and we see Shanks have that moment where he's crying as he's leaving Elegia. And we find out the truth that they actually took out Tot Musica and took all of the burden on themselves for the rest of the world to see, to protect one person. All to protect Uta. That one scene told me more about Shanks and Uta than anything else. And it hit so hard, bro. Because like my cousin said when we were in the car, very reminiscent to the Odin goodbye, or the Roger Pirate's farewell. And it hit extremely hard because you see it from one end and then you see it from the other end, and it's like that's what they were hiding their faces. And I maybe get choked up a little bit just thinking about it. It was a really, really powerful scene. But at the end of the movie, after the entire film of being able to sing to her heart's content, then we get to the end and she's no longer able to sing. And from the middle, with the wake up shrooms and stuff of that nature, we knew that death was imminent for Uta. But up until the end, I was like, no, death is imminent for a lot of characters. She's probably going to be good. I did not expect her to sing until her final moments. And then for Luffy to realize that they were all looking down at Uta's casket. That was like, wow, man. Another scene in that same thing is right after the Tot Musica thing. Uta and Luffy have that one final moment where Luffy like sits down, she puts a straw on her head. She puts a straw on his head. It basically does the same thing that Shanks did in Romance Dawn. And that was their final interaction. That one hit really hard. It hit extremely hard, especially after having the context of the end of the movie. I love the way that they executed Uta having known the truth, but still choosing to ignore it, because even though her music would undoubtedly... I loved it so much because it's like, what more could Uta have done? In terms of, she's an individual who's highly ambitious, dreams so much, and yet her voice was capable of creating the disaster that happened. And so for her, I can only imagine what she must have been dealing with, especially dealing with that alone for such a long amount of time. It's like, even though you know inside that what you're doing has the potential to have negative effects, to you it means so much that you don't care. You want to keep doing this. And you see her intentions throughout the entire movie. And especially in regards to wanting to take everyone into a different reality, because then everyone will be peaceful. And I love the retaliation from the people around, right? Where even if the world that is not perfect to the way to their liking, they want to return back to the things that they know, their home, their work, and even the things that they once didn't value, now they value. Like, I remember somebody saying, I like school. And at first, first hear that, you're like, why would they say that? But when you're placed in a situation where you no longer have those things that you once had, you start valuing them. Like, man, you start seeing the positives in those types of things. I thought that was a really well executed scene. And like I said, for Uta's character, the motivation was immediately understood, especially with filler context. But the motivation was immediately understood. A lot of comedic, awesome scenes that had all of us popping huge. The Sunny Go scene was great. Chopper having died all movie. Luffy and Uta together had some great scenes. Beppo, oh my goodness, Beppo was Aiki one of the MVPs. Like, real talk, Beppo was Aiki one of the MVPs. But no. To wrap up the Uta, at least for just specifically talking about Uta, I can't wait to rewatch this because I really want to. Like I said, the hype at the end has a few things blurry for me in the first half, and I want to go back and truly like analyze the way that Uta's character was handled here, because by the time that I finished it, I felt like I'd gone through a journey and a half with this character, and at this point I have, because I've gone through the fillers. The fillers happened so long ago that now whenever I watched it here, it was like a continuation of a story that I've been a part of for so long. And so when I saw the end result, it legitimately hurt, bro. And I remembered back like all of the little hints throughout as well in regards to her ability. Like that one scene that I thought was so weird whenever they first showed it, when everybody was asleep, Luffy wakes up and everyone is fallen asleep due to her ability, and then you find out, you know, why that actually is the case. Then I was like, oh snap. You know, and that ability is OP, by the way, and I loved how how we see it visually. All of the songs were awesome. I was wondering when we heard some of the songs why they sounded like someone who had like a villainous nature to them, but then you understand that it's coming from a side of rage, and I thought that was really cool in the way that was executed, because whenever you are creating art, or especially in this case for her, that everything does come from within. Like all these songs represent pieces of Uta, and she wants to sing her heart away for that very reason. And so all of the songs represent a different part of Uta's emotions and what she wants to bring to the world. So New Genesis was the most prominent, right? Wanting to bring a new era, wanting to bring peace and liberty to all. But Backlight and Taught Musica, man, like these themes, I was like, brother. And especially matching the visuals, it was crazy. That ability, just seeing the way it is, was insane. Massive props to Kobe. Kobe did his thing. So yeah, like I said, Uta's character, very, very well done. And I love the connect, like her relationship with Luffy. Like I have a feeling like if I were to go back and rewatch the fillers now, it would hit me really, really hard. Like it would hit me extremely hard going back, man. Gosh, and just I'm still trying to process the fact that Uta actually died at the end. I'm not gonna say I wasn't expecting that, because for a canon character within a filler movie, you would have to bring it back, right? So this is a way for the writers to keep her just here. And so, but man, dude, what a character! And I loved how we got to see so many different ranges of Uta, because it really did go to show like how much all of this meant to her, and then we got to see the turnaround there at the end, and I'm so glad that she had her moment with Shanks there at the end, and the moment with Luffy. I mean, beautiful, and it was very somber ending to a hype ending, but man, the end itself just it hit. So, but going from Uta, the side characters, one of my favorite things about Stampede was the cast, right? Like being able to see the rest of the cast to do their thing, the character interactions. A really fun part of this movie for sure was the character interactions. I really enjoyed seeing Bluno working together with, it was Cypher Pole and members of Sword working together. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, right? And so they were out here doing their thing. They were working together with Law. Beppo and Gordon were a really fun and comedic combo there. I thought that was a lot of fun. Having the rest of the Straw Hats go down and into like to go find specifically Robin, to go find Talk Musica and all that stuff. I thought that was a really cool way of keeping them away from Luffy, because this really was a 1v1 situation with Luffy and Uta in regards to their relationship. Like no one else could really interfere there. And so I thought it was, in that regard, let me go ahead and talk about that real quick, because I thought that was, the way that was handled was really, really cool. in regards to the two realities. We're introduced to the two reality concept. I was like, okay, so that is an easy way of keeping Shanks and Luffy apart. But the genius about that for me is thematically, when it comes to Uta, she is dealing with this at the same exact time. She is dealing with having to go against in that world against Luffy and the rest of the squad, and then in the other world with Shanks and Katakuri and all. Oh my goodness, that was so high. But I thought that was so insane. Just in the way that you have these two realities, you have a character who we know has this mass range of emotions. We see that at this point, it's like, yo, I'm so, like, especially right before she completely is lost in the sauce up there with the Top Musica stuff. It's like, okay, Luffy's the only one that's gonna be able to get up there. But what was so cool about it is the way that Top Musica was constructed is now everyone in both in the reality and out of the reality need to work together in order to do it. And who is the person to do that? Like I said earlier, Yasop. Yasop and Usopp go left leg, right leg. And I thought that was so cool because it showed they need to do the same thing both in that world and in our world. And the same amount of... and it was just insane, right? One more thing. In the flashback, whenever we see Shanks fighting the original Top Musica thing in Elegia, that scene of Shanks just going in like swimwear, I was losing my mind, dude. I was going crazy. I'm like, yo, an attack! Shanks unleashing an attack! But then we go over to some more stuff in the finale, because that's the part that's most fresh in my mind. But dog, I still can't believe that we actually got to have a Yasop and Usopp scene together. It was just felt so good to see the Reddit. Because listen, man, for me as someone who has, I've always said for many years, I've rewatched so many Roger scenes in the anime and Shanks scenes in the anime, because those are two characters that I wanted to see so much from, so much. And so anything that we get from them, I end up rewatching a lot. That's why the Odin flashback for me was a treasure trove, because I got both. But especially Roger's side now with Shanks, this was the most that we've gotten from their crew. And what I loved so much about it as well is we got more than I was anticipating. But the taste was like, I just want to see more. So it's like when we get to the actual manga now, and we see Shanks and Luffy actually meet, I think the hype for me is going to be times 50. Because it's like, yo, they now miss each other twice. And this time, they were so insane that they were breaking realities. You know what I'm saying? Two different realities. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I cannot wait for them to actually meet within the manga. Now, even more than I already did. Because when they do, and I don't know if they're going to bring up the Uta stuff, I'm going to assume they're probably going to try to keep it separate between the movies and the show. But if they do bring up the Uta thing, they'll probably bring like a little small flashback or whatever. I can most certainly see that, and I hope they do. I think that'd be really cool. But just keeping manga-wise, I lost my sanity. My hype was all the way to max and beyond. Seeing them do attacks at the same time in two different dimensions. How in the world are we going to react when Shanks and Luffy meet and their crews meet? I got to see Ben Beckman go in. I got to see Yasop going in. I got to see Lucky Roo going in, son. And to me, that was so special. To me, that was this movie, right? Like, trust me, man. I loved the Uta sections. With every fiber of my being, man. The like I said, the visual and oh man, my ears were just, I was loving it. And very, very emotional. The core, just that core emotional, or the emotional core of Uta and Shanks, and it was one of the strongest aspects of the thing. But going into it, one of the things that I wanted to see the most was just, are we going to see Shanks' crew, bro, in any capacity, in terms of them doing something? And the final trailer, at the very least, showed me they were going to unleash an attack. I just didn't expect him to release so many. Shanks released like 4 attacks. He went in, speed blitzed Kizaru. Then we got to see Ben Beckman use Armored Hawkiner to stop an attack. And that scene was so cool, dude. When Kizaru was about to attack on the civilians, and Ben Beckman was like, yo, what are we doing here? And then whenever one of the members within Shanks' crew, I'm trying to remember which one. Like I said, it's all blurry at this point. It's like it's so insane. But one of the members was about to attack a civilian as well, or try to get the civilians off him. And Ben Beckman once again was like, "Yo, we don't do that. We don't do that here. We would rather die than fight back." And it reminded me of Shanks whenever he was getting bodied by the bandit, and he just took it. And you see that running through the entire crew, that they all act the same way. And it reminded me of that scene also with Luffy and Jaya. Whenever he took that punishment from Bellamy, he just ate it. And it was that callback to the Shanks scene. And so it was just so cool seeing those types of character moments from them, man. And then Lucky Rube being able, it was just like, just being able to see them interacting, bro, in real time, like their current versions, not in a flashback, their current versions, bro. I thought that was so, so cool. And then, once again, bro, all right, if you're not a manga reader, thank you so much for watching, because I can't talk about this. What I'm about to say. I'm not going into manga spoilers post chapter 1044. So do not watch this section. Thank you so much for watching. I'm about to go into heavy manga spoilers. So if you have not watched or I'm sorry, read from 1044 onwards, do not watch this section. So I want to talk about Uta finding out about the Denden Mushis. And then within the Denden Mushis, or within the video transponder snails, the specific logo on it was the SSG. And I was like, oh snap. Like Vegapunk. And then so when I saw the Vegapunk thing, I was like, okay. Vegapunk here, obviously that's where we currently are. Shanks utilizing his hockey in here against those 2 admirals. I was like, yo, people who read chapter 1055 after watching Film Red must have been going crazy. Because the man has scared the current 3 admirals in their boots. He knocked out several vice admirals with his Conqueror hockey. He had Momonga on his knees. This man has scared and forced to move all of the current 3 admirals. And in this case, it was 2 in one island. They still didn't want the smoke. Still didn't want it. It's like if I was not already, if my Shanks hype couldn't get any higher, all this did was make me so excited to see him again within the manga to do some of this stuff. As well as, of course, elevating the eventual meeting between Luffy and Shanks. But son, dog, his character doing that for Uta and Elegia to take that burden upon himself, make sure to make it back over there for her final moments. What an amazing character, bro. I'm telling, like, the potential for all-time greatness has always been there for Shanks. But when you get to see these types of parts of his character, it's like, nah, he's that dude, bro. And we've always known that, right? But because of the way in which the mystery, the cloud that continues to be over this man, we don't know his motivations, intentions. But all this does all this tells me is like, yo, when we find out more about Shanks, when we find out about exactly what his origin story is in regards to why he was found by Roger and Rayleigh, oh, that scene was so powerful, man. And then he's looking down at Uta, young Shanks. I really, really love the relationship between Luffy and Uta and Shanks and Uta. I thought that was so good, man. And like I said earlier with the whole Uta thing, I'm glad that both Luffy and Shanks had the opportunities to really have their moments with her at the very end, both within the other reality and the real reality. Katakuri going in was so cool. But man, son, Film Red, and then bro, Gear 5, man. Like, I thought I would have to wait until mid next year to see Gear 5. But what I think is so cool about this is not only did we see Gear 5, we saw it, but we didn't hear him say it. We didn't hear the drums of liberation. It was simply there as fan service for us. So, I feel bad for the anime onlys watching this, right? Like, for watching the movie. Because they're going to be like, what in the world is that? They're probably going to do some research. They're going to find out it's Gear 5, which is something I really wish, because of how much I value that chapter. That chapter is the GOAT, right? Like, I love chapter 1044. And a bit of that, like, is going to be taken away from it now if you have watched Film Red, because you're like, oh, like, you're going to be expecting it, right, to come in. But the chapter is not only so good, but I also can't wait to see how they animate it now, because now that I've seen it here, I'm very curious on seeing how it moves in just the anime, because we didn't hear any of the sound effects, we didn't see any of the Luffy Tunes stuff, we didn't hear him say anything, we didn't hear the laughter, none of that. He just went into the form, and then we saw them side by side at the end. So I thought the way they handled that was really, really cool in regards to fan service for the manga readers. Obviously, they're super excited to work on it. They keep hinting at it as the anime progresses. But if they were going to show G5, the way to do it is like this, to where you don't have him say it, you don't reveal any of like what the thing actually does, any of that. So at the very least, that is still shrouded in mystery. And so even though I feel sorry for anime onlys, I really do, but at the very least, they won't be robbed of that when the actual chapter does get animated. So man, but now, how long is it going to be before people who are reactors, right, are able to watch Film Red? You know, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy they had that. I mean, for me as a manga reader, I couldn't be more hyped, and I'm gonna rewatch that scene so many times because I said that is my favorite transformation. But now, because one of the things that was like that was inside for both things, right? Like in terms of showing off more Shanks and potentially seeing something like Gear 5 or like Zoro or Sanji using their manga abilities, is that it would have taken away a little bit from the anime. But instead, the way they did it is it was like a sneak peek that into all of those abilities without any of them saying anything and doing the attacks, right? And so now my excitement is like tripled. And then in the Shanks aspect, it's like, man, I just want to see more of the character. But it's like what we got from it was so good that now I can't wait to see it expanded upon in the manga. And that's one of the best things that I can say about Film Red is it gave us so much, and yet there's still so much to have later down the line with Shanks's crew and Luffy's crew. But I feel like this is going to be one that on rewatch is going to get better for whenever I'm watching it by myself. The theater experience is that cannot be replicated. You know what I mean? That cannot be replicated. I can tell you as somebody who watched Stampede, that cannot be replicated. And I'm going to watch so many theater reactions to Film Red because I want to see if everybody else felt during the Luffy and Shanks scene what I felt during the Luffy and Shanks scene, because that thing was crazy. That thing was ultra pinnacle of the peak. You know what I mean? Pinnacle of the peak. So, man, dude. What a flippin' film, dude. What a film. And man, that, like, You know, whenever you receive two insane emotions at the same time, it's like you get the hypest of the hype, peakest of the peak with that Luffy and Shanks scene, and the rest of the crews fighting together, Yasop and Usopp. But then on the other side, you have the insane. I mean, that those Uta's final words and like that casket and just seeing Shanks's crew surrounding her there at the end, his final expression, that really hit, man. You know, and so it's like I have this somber feeling, and I have like I am so hyped. Like it's a weird feeling. It's very very weird. But those emotional moments are gonna be extremely hard. I can tell next time I go through this. And give it another watch. But just on the first watch, wow. Wow, man. You know, we went into this expecting greatness, but one of the things I was most excited about when it came to Uta and her performances was how they were going to show all of that visually. I thought it was going to be Toei's time to really just go all out. Excuse me, doing something they'd never done before. And they did that. They did that, 110% with the Uta scenes. Going all out and showcasing that ability and her performance. And I thought that was, man, it's the craziness, bro. I'm telling you, it's the craziness. But it was just insane to me, the way that was handled. And it's like, yo, some of those visuals during those scenes already had me popping. I was like, man. Like, and like I said, that was one of the things, like when we saw the very, very, very first trailer, I came out of my biggest takeaway of that being, okay, this is about to be a visual spectacle. Right? This is gonna be really, really cool. And so they took like the Whole Cake Island musical elements, put that with insane visual spectacle, and that was the first half. With that slow setup, the slow build-up, and a crazy climax of the second half. And so now I 100% understand why it is that this movie was controversial. Or I shouldn't say controversial, but why you're on like one side of the spectrum or the other, right? With this one, I don't really. I mean, we'll find out more in the next couple of days, but why it is that I heard like either extreme love or dislike for it, right? Because it is fragmented in that way, where it is concert heavy, and if you're not here for the concert stuff, you're probably not gonna have a good time during those particular scenes. And then, of course, the second half pops off, but it does take quite a bit in order to get there. But, you know, that's just classic One Piece. But I just really appreciated that they believed in the power of their storytelling, of the characters at hand, to really take their time and establish the connections between the characters, right? Between the main three, in Luffy, Uta, and Shanks, and have that emotional core be felt throughout the entire thing in every single way. And to me, that was one of my biggest takeaways in regards to just how well they did that. Because I feel like that's very hard to pull off with a character that was just introduced, especially, and even with filler context, it's still very, very hard to pull off. But I think they did a great job. And like I said, when my, of course, insane hypeness, right? But when right next to that, a character who I was just introduced to, their final moments is sticking out to me just as strong as wanting to see a character do things for so many years. I think that is worthy of praise, 110%. Because Uta's final moments hit, man, and I still have like that entire final thing just in my brain. I can't get it out, and it was really, really powerful stuff. But God, just seeing Luffy and Shanks fighting something at the same time, I don't know how they're going to top this. I'm going to assume the final movie or the second to final movie, whatever it is, that whenever the series is, of course, coming to a close. But I'm going to assume we have like one or two left before the series ends, before the manga ends at least, because this comes like once every 4 years. So I'm going to assume at least one. So they're probably going to need another Stampede. I don't know how they're going to do themselves with this one. like, now I understand why this was breaking so many records, because the amount of rewatches have to be through the roof. The rewatchability of this is crazy. Like I said, I already want to go back and see a lot of these scenes, right? I want to break them down because it is something very worthy of being broken down, right? Like, I already want to see it again. Because I feel like I am going to appreciate it somehow even more on another watch. But like I said, I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed in the way that they handled the everything, and the fact that Uta was going to be the person that they would quote unquote be fighting. It was Uta, and then it turned into Toad Musico, which of course she summoned. But so it was her. But that was just, it was such a strange, but not necessarily strange. Like, remember in the trailers, we just didn't know what they were fighting. It's like, oh, okay, so now we know. Now we know exactly why they weren't able to show, because that would be a massive spoiler. But even, I'm not gonna say if they would have shown that, but from the very beginning, when like it was revealed so early on that. But still, I understand. Like I said, I understand why, and I'm grateful they kept it out of the trailers, because whenever it started happening, I was like, oh man, like, yo, we're actually gonna have to fight Uta, or, you know, go against the music fruit, and eventually the top music and stuff. So when all that started happening, I was like, oh, but what was really hitting me in a way that impressed me was not necessarily the fact that Uta had this heel turn. It was more so Luffy. Like, the fact that every time somebody said, Uta's gonna die, Uta has 2 hours left, the fact that Luffy did not want to fight her, to me, was so key for his character, because we know how much he values his friends, how much he values the people that he cares about. And so to see that on full display with somebody who is doing something to the Straw Hats, and even then he's like, no. It took the hat ripping and then Uta to speak from the heart for Luffy to be like, I've had enough of this, dog. He's like, yo, you're not going to do this to the Straw Hats, and you dang sure you can do that to my hat, and then you're absolutely not going to talk about Shanks like this, because you and I both know Shanks would never do that. And I thought that was so well done, because it's like Luffy was about to reach a breaking point, and we saw that here. God, we got to see Shanks in action, man, and the rest of the squad. I genuinely can't believe that I saw Shanks unleash some attacks. But even more than that, the man used Conqueror's Haki to bend the seas, and he had Momonga on his knees. Vice Admirals were gone. Bro, Kizaru Fujitora said, my bad, dog, we out. We out. And the fact that that scene was preceded by Luffy in gear 5th and unleashing an attack next to Shanks. I'm done. I'm done. Triple Santa Hat level movie. Juice Seal was right. 100 Santa Hats. They were probably sprouting all over the place. But what an experience, man. What an experience. Honestly grateful. Honestly grateful. Uta, what a way to get me attached to the character in 2 filler episodes and 2 hours of screen time. Like I said, that final scene hit, and so glad that I had my boys there with me. We basically had the whole row to ourselves, and then even the people who aren't with us in our row, they were also massive tards, so they were popping too. So basically the whole row was just filled with tards, and that was super cool. But yeah, shout out to everybody in that theater. It was so much fun. Just, once again, another thing to be grateful for, to be able to have lived to this day to see what I saw today, man, you know? Because this is the closest that I'm going to get to seeing Shanks and Luffy interact until they actually meet. which at this point it's really, it's already been feeling this way for a long time, but I feel like Luffy and Shanks meeting might actually be the thing I'm looking forward to the most at this point in time. Outside of like the One Piece stuff, obviously, I really do feel like that's safe for me to say now. And it's crazy to me that I'm saying that like as if it wasn't like that already the case, but now even more than before, that's like solidified. I really, really can't wait for these two characters to meet again, because you got to see how much they mean to each other here in this, and just, man, I'm just grateful, bro. Peakest of the peak, goatest of the goat. This has been a ramble. My voice is nearly shot, but I had to talk about it, man. I had to come on here, and the moment that I got home, I was like, man, I just wow, bro. Just seriously, just Toei, man. Visually, especially just getting Otto to sing, man. Powerful stuff. But I appreciate the way they went about this story, man. They just focusing everything around that one, the core thread of those three was, it's like, it's to be expected, but it's the way that they did it that to me was the most impressive. Where just the movie just it only went like this, and it just popped, and it was like it was the pop, you know what I mean? Uta, man, seriously, Uta. I really look forward to watching theater reactions to this, man. I really do. This one hit different. But yo, for the people who have watched Film Red, let me know. I finally watched it. I don't have to hide. I don't have to avoid spoilers anymore for this. So please let me know in the comments section down below what you think about this greatness. And I will see y'all next time, man. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be in a couple minutes, even though my throat is almost gone, or if it's going to be tomorrow morning. I'll probably say it's going to be tomorrow morning at this point. Like I said, I barely have a voice. But, man, dude. You know, one last thing. One of the things, as someone obviously in the creative field, I couldn't wait to see how they were going to handle Uta's ambition and like why it is that she does what she does, right? And I'm so satisfied with the way that they handled that, the way they handled the loneliness that comes with that, the way they handle what it takes to reach a certain level, and then once you do reach that level, the impact that you could have on other individuals, and how that can mess with you. And when I say mess with you, is how that can change your psyche, right? I think that was a very interesting thing to explore within a series that has so many highly ambitious individuals, but specifically within the world of music. And especially with the different types of ways in which we got to hear all different types of songs that represented different parts of Uta's character. I thought that was just that for me was just so nice to see that. And like I understood, I could resonate with that. Like I thought that was so well done. And it's like they got it too while creating that character. But man, dude, Shanks, bro. Shanks. Shout out to my goats and the Straw Hats, right? Luffy, obviously, like I said before, being able to see my goat form, I couldn't believe it, dude. We were going so nuts. That was the scene where we all just went nuts, man. But just seeing more Shanks and his crew, bro, it was a real treat. And they did so much Shanks, man, holding the blade up to Kizaru and be like, yo, what you doing? The Conqueror's hockey scene, which was just so insane, man. And then the final attack. Guys, it was just the best, man. And for fans, like, or for tards, I guess, or whatever it is, right? Like, for someone like me who just wants to see more from these characters interacting, I enjoy just regular filler. Like I've said that multiple times. I actually enjoy One Piece filler. I really do. As long as it's my favorite characters interacting, I'm there. I'm there for the TV specials, the fillers, the movies. I'm there for all of that because I just enjoy that type of stuff, man. The more of this that I get, the better. But when they do it like this, and they give it the care that they've given it, man. They've given this one so much care, bro. It's just I couldn't be more thankful, man. And I got to see my dog Shanks do his thing, bro. And the craziest part about it is we still have so much more to see when it comes to both his abilities and his character. Man. I don't know when this video is going to go up, but if the chapter reactions already happened, then it's already happened. But if not, this will probably go up tomorrow night then, because it's going to take a long time for this to render. But I don't care. I had to ramble. I had to talk. I had to speak from the heart, you know what I mean? But, man, oh man, dude. What an experience, man. Seriously, dude. What an experience, man. It's one I'll always cherish, just like the ones of the previous ones. But this one was just so much fun. Wow. I can't get over that final. It's like I said before, I can't get over the final attack, and then the Uta just slowly singing. Oh, it's just air, man. Yo, this beautiful, beautiful scenes, bro. Luffy drawing the straw hat, the "you suck." It's like it's moments like that, bro. It hits. Man. One Piece, bro. One Piece, bro. Wow. But yo, guys, I will see y'all. Have an awesome one. Like I said, I don't know when this is gonna go up, but I'll see y'all whenever I see y'all. Obviously, a lot of One Piece stuff this weekend. But man, oh man, dude, y'all were right, dude. Y'all told me I was gonna love it, and I most certainly did, man. With every fiber in my being, bro. And I cannot wait to go through it again. But this first experience was so special, bro. Shanks, bro, doing his thing in 4K, son. Gear 5. But Uta, man. Y'all have a good one. I'll be here all night if I keep going, man. Seriously. Take care. Thank you so much for watching, bro. One more quick note. These Uta soundtracks are about to hit insanely different with context, man. Oh my goodness. I was just thinking about Shinji Daiwa Kurori Naide, and I was like, whoa. Like, what was already a banger has now been transformed into something that with context is like, bro. Yo, this soundtrack is about to get so much better with time. Somehow. These songs that were already so goated are somehow with time gonna get better. As I continue to reflect, because Where the Wind Blows is already hitting extremely different. Film red, boys. Film red. Okay, now I'm done. I just had to say that. Now I'm done. Shanks.